Hey, this is Jaime with Bookkeepers.com. This channel is made to help you, encourage you, inspire you, and help you grow your bookkeeping business. Today we have a hot seat. We have one of our own, a Bookkeeper Launch student. Shaan, welcome to our YouTube channel.
Hey, Abby, how you doing, man? Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, dude, I'm really excited to have you on because, well, number one, you're a student. I know that you have a growing bookkeeping business. You've done more than just bookkeeping now. I want to hear your story, number one. Number two, I want to ask you some really difficult questions. Yeah. And then some kind of, I think that your story will really resonate with some of the students that are in the course now, maybe students that are looking at joining our Bookkeeper Launch family. And then maybe some of those that have been around us with us in the family for a while and have not gone through some things that they had to put the course aside, and now they're back, right? And maybe they want to start. Maybe you inspire them to come back and learn this and start this business. So, Shaan, let's start here. Walk us back to when you got the course. Before you bought the course, where were you in your life, and what made you even decide to become a business owner? And number two, why bookkeeping?
Yeah, great questions. And I mean, to start all off, it honestly was me destroying and rebuilding my life. It was, before I was living paycheck to paycheck, didn't really know what I was doing, just, trying to find my purpose in life. And what ended up happening was I used to live in New Jersey, moved out to Houston, and hey, let's start fresh. Let's reset. Ended up going back to school and getting my accounting degree. Now, once I got my accounting degree, I was like, all right, this is a big boy time because we got to get a big boy job. What ended up happening was I got my degree, but I also got a receipt saying, hey, you owe this much in student loan debt.
Oh, yeah.
And when we're talking about debt, counting all my debt all together, I had about $63,000 in debt. And I felt scared. I felt like, how am I going to do this? But, to whom much is given, much is required. So I figured, let's take this opportunity to try to change our life around. Went through a debt-free journey. And during this time, I said, hey, I need to be able to pick up a side hustle. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, bookkeepers.com comes at me. And I'm like, hey, I'm an accountant, so let's see what we can do with that. What the funny story about that is, once I ended up getting it, I realized I needed to pause because I had too much on my plate of trying to get rid of that and also taking that time to learn this skill and get better at this skill. Yeah. So what ended up happening was I ended up paying off that debt in 13 months. And then I said, okay, now it's time to build this business.
Let me stop you there.
Yeah, let's go.
You said 3 months?
13.
In 13 months, you paid $63,000 worth of debt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's no easy feat. So I think we need to dive into that. How in the world did you manage to do that? And also, I wanted to just mention briefly, side note, $63,000, it's a lot of money. But what's crazy is that's not even a lot in comparison to most students. Like, that's normal. That's scary, first of all, to go into that much debt as a student. And then we've been promised this life that if you go to school, you're going to, don't worry about the loans. They're going to pay themselves off, essentially.
Right.
You did it extremely fast. So I guess let's just talk about that. How did you do that?
I followed with the Dave Ramsey baby steps, and I really went gazelle intense. I wanted to make sure that if I was going to have my future, it was going to be in my own hands. And looking back at that, I mean, your best wealth building tool is your income. So it was legit working my 9-to-5 accounting job, another side hustle, DoorDash. But you know what all of that ended up doing? It ended up teaching me how to run a business, because with the DoorDash side of things, with the money coming in, I was able to learn more about cash flow and being able to control my budget a lot better. And during that whole debt-free journey, just understanding the budgets and being able to forecast, that's where I started molding into a better accountant and a better person.
That's awesome. I think one thing you touched on is it doing all of that taught you not only how to pay this off and make money on your own, but it essentially taught you the skill of being a business owner.
Yep.
Being a business owner is very difficult. It's not easy. We have thousands of students. I think we have something around 17,000 students that have gone through the course now. And every one of them goes through this, and then when they join, they're like, what am I doing? Like, this is a lot harder than I thought. And I like to point that out right from the get-go, because when you first join the course, you're so motivated to change your life. But what happens after month 2, month 3, what happens 6 months, 12 months from now, you kind of lose that motivation. So what made you be able to kind of just, have that tunnel vision to stick with it?
I honestly, this is going to go out to the rest of the BL family as well. Don't fall in love with the outcome. Fall in love with the process. Because every single time you fall in love with the process, you're going to continue to improve step by step. And you're going to continue to see these challenges, but they're going to be exciting challenges. And that's something that I learned through my journey as well. Because like I said, at that point, once I knew that I was debt free, I didn't have to worry about owing anybody back. I was able to use that money to continue to invest in the best asset, which is myself. So that would be yourself when you guys are investing into yourself, your businesses as well.
Man, I think that's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's a scary thing to start your own business, but it's so rewarding.
Sir.
I'll share a little bit of my journey. I think you know it. Most of the BL students know it. But if you're watching our channel for the first time, you may not have heard my story. Like you, Shaan, 8 years ago, make sure I'm doing the math right. 8 years ago, I bought Bookkeeper launch. I was a student, bought it just like anybody else, just like you did, and everybody, the other 17,000 students. Fast forward 2 years, I had my clients. I started working for Bookkeeper launch. Fast forward to 2024, sorry. I become the CEO of bookkeepers.com.
How crazy is that? That's amazing.
Isn't it? And then 2025, I have the opportunity to buy the company. And I say that not to gloat, but because I hope that it inspires somebody that this stuff works. It's not easy, but if you just really put in the work and the dedication, it can erase 13 months, $63,000 worth of debt.
Yeah.
It can buy a company that has changed lives. And the one thing that people have asked, like, if you started a bookkeeping business, why did you go into being an instructor of the course then? Well, truth be told, it's the most rewarding thing ever. I have a coaching call with all of the Bookkeeper Launch Premier members every single week, and that's my favorite call because I get to just I get inspired because I get to see this journey. I see people like you joining for the first time, and then 6 months from now, they're like, "Hey, I got my first client." It goes from I don't know what I'm doing month 1. 6 months later, I got my first client. A year later, I got my third and my fourth, my fifth, and it just grows from there. It's amazing. Shaan, let's take a step back. I want to ask you some really quick, what I'm going to call live money scenario questions.
Okay.
I'm going to give you like 5 seconds to answer each of these questions. Okay.
Oh man. All right. Is there like a timer or anything?
Yeah. There's a digital timer right now. All right. So, if you had to choose, you have one $36,000 a year client or 12 $3,000 a year clients.
Oh man, we're gonna choose the latter. We're gonna get 12 clients because we want to make sure.
All right,
go ahead.
Hold on. Fire a nightmare client or double your price and keep them.
I think I would double my price and keep them.
Okay. Take on a client in a niche that you don't understand, or say no and risk missing out on the growth.
No, we continue to learn, baby. Let's take that chance.
All right. 2 more. Do you work with one dream client who pays late, or 5 okay clients who always pay on time?
We're gonna go with the 5 clients.
Okay.
Paying on time.
I see a trend here. You're chasing that money. I like it. Last one. You deal with a client that's annoying and always reaches out, so they're always emailing you. Or do you deal with a client that ghosts you, where you can't get an answer from?
Oh, most definitely the annoying client.
You'll take the annoying client. All right. Awesome. So let's go back and recap.
Okay.
you'd rather take 12 $3,000 a year clients instead of the one $36,000 a year client. That's a big client that you're saying, hey, I don't want you. You'd rather have those 12 smaller clients, which 12 $3,000 clients are not small. They're pretty decent size. Why?
Quite simple is you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. You know, if that one client decides to go to someone who maybe they decide that someone else charges less and they want to walk away, now your stream of income officially dries up. And I don't want to rely on one client. I want to be able to help as much people as possible. So the idea is we don't want to be transactional about it. We want to be transformational about it.
Man, you're just like, God, I feel like I need to tweet some of these things that you're saying. I love it. So, Shaan, if I don't know if you know your numbers, but on average, what does your client pay you now? Like your clients pay you?
They pay about around $850 to $900 a month, which is nothing.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So we're very conservative when we use any marketing material where we tell people you can start a bookkeeping business. We always say $300 to $400 a month for a client. What we find is most of our students are actually charging anywhere between $500 to $750 a month per client on average. So that's awesome that you say that.
Yeah, well, it's more not only just about the bookkeeping, we try to provide as much value as possible. Yeah. So it's a lot with that as well. And thanks to Bookkeeper's launch, has actually molded that idea.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so the next question, you said fire a nightmare client or double your price and keep them. You're chasing the cash and you're doubling the price and keeping that nightmare client.
Yes. And the reason why I would go with that is maybe we can outsource and figure out, hey, let's try to get this work done still and focus more on what we need to really do to help change their financial path. And that way we're still making sure we stay on that path of being transformational.
I love it. You keep mentioning transformational, which tells me that you have your why, your reason why you start your business. You have a very clear vision of that, of what you want, why you have this business.
Yes, sir.
I love it. And I want to be clear, there's none of these questions there's no right or wrong answer, right? Take on a client in a niche you don't understand or say no and risk missing out on growth. You are going to say you're taking on the client that you don't understand. All right. Talk to me about that.
Well, I mean, listen, you could lose clients, you could lose money, you could lose your computer, but you can't lose your knowledge. Yeah. So I feel like if there's an opportunity to continue to dive in deep and continue to gain more knowledge in different types of niches, that's the way to go, in my opinion.
I love it. So something we teach in Bookkeeper Launch is we're very niche heavy. We definitely teach on focusing on one niche and growing that particular niche. However, the number one thing that stops students from growing their business is, aside from creating the perfect website that never exists because you're always tweaking it, is I need to find the niche. And my solution for that is forget the niche right now. Chase the dollar. And the idea behind it is you can have all the accounting, all the bookkeeping knowledge in the world, but without a client that is paying you money, you don't have a business.
Right.
You have a hobby, you have intellect, you learned a new skill, but you don't have a business. So chase that first client. As your business grows, then you can come in and say, okay, how do I want to mold my business? How do I want it to be? And that's where you kind of really get into.
But to also add into that, I've seen people say, hey, I'm going to do this specific niche. And then all of a sudden, they're not actually in love with it.
Oh, yeah.
And then they start losing that love for that bookkeeping side. So it's more on that. That's add on what you were saying.
Yeah. And I think like a lot of times you're going to find a niche that you may think, me as an example, whenever I joined Bookkeeper Launch as a student, my goal or the niche that I picked was online coaches. I loved, at that time, I was a little more fit than I am today. I was a health nut. I worked out regularly, and I wanted to just be the bookkeeper for those online coaches, more specifically fitness coaches that were online. It didn't work out. What did work out were attorneys, and I realized that I chased the money. I didn't chase this passion for fitness because I realized the fitness stuff, it's a passion, but it's not paying the bills.
Right.
I realize that as much as I do enjoy the bookkeeping side of it, but you know what I really enjoy more is spending time with my family, taking my dog on a walk in the middle of the day, taking a day off, maybe going to the golf course in the middle of the day. That's what I really enjoy. I like bookkeeping, but don't get me wrong. If you give me bookkeeping and golf, find me at the course.
See you for 18.
Yeah, exactly. So I realized like I could have a passion for a niche, but my real passion is the reason I'm starting my business is spending the freedom, spending time with my family, and spending time on myself as well.
I agree.
All right, work with one dream client who pays late, or 5 okay clients who always pay on time. You said the 5 clients that pay on time, but they're not the dream client. They're not the I don't know, the perfect niche maybe.
So I'm kind of, if I had to choose one or the other, my choice. But if I honestly, I would kind of do both. And what I really emphasize on is creating that boundary that you feel fit for you. And when it comes to me, if I have that dream client who is paying late, I would want to make that boundary of making sure they understand that they can't be paying late. But for those okay clients that are paying on time, that's something that you want to be able to, be happy with, because that is monthly recurring revenue, and you're able to make sure you're budgeting properly while you're running your business. Because at the end of the day, like Jaime had mentioned, it is a business.
Yeah. And Shaan, this last one was deal with a client that's annoying and always reaches out. And I think anybody that's in this industry knows, like, as soon as I say that, they're like, oh, I can think of a client. I know exactly what kind of client that is. I have some of those. And then we can all relate to the other one, a client that ghosts you, where you're like, hey, client, I need your bank statements, or I need you to go reconnect the bank feed with QuickBooks. And you're like, crickets. And then I don't know, March rolls around, it's almost tax time, and they're like, hey, Shaan, I connected everything. and anyway, so there's the ghosting client, and there's the one that just constantly reaches you out. You'd rather have the client that is annoying and reaches out to you consistently. I don't know which one I am. I think I prefer to the ghosting one, but I want to hear why you prefer the one that's a little annoying.
So that goes along with creating this, it's not a transactional relationship, it's a relational relationship. That makes sense. But more so, it's because one of my big values is communication. And with that communication, even if it's with somebody annoying, the whole point is to make sure we give peace of mind to our clients. So if that means that they're continuing to ask more and more, well, let's create that bond of now you can start trusting us, because the whole idea is we want our clients to know us, like us, and trust us. So once we create that bond, that annoying client might be annoying over and over again, but then you make a joke out of it, and then you continue to build that same communication, because the communication part is what's important, because you're creating that's what you're doing on that end with the accounting side.
So speaking of annoying clients, have you ever had a client try to ask of services of you that they didn't pay for? So like a scope creeping, where they're paying you maybe just for monthly bookkeeping, and then all of a sudden they're they're calling you to have a budget, some cash flow forecasting. Have you ever had a situation like that?
The situations that have happened with me were more of the do-it-yourselfers that would contact us and everything like that. But what ends up happening is I still give them the value. I want to be able to make sure they understand, hey, we could show it to you, we could do this for you. If it's on a consistent basis, then that's when we have to be able to basically revise the engagement letter, so that way we're adding in the right scopes for everything. Because at the end of the day, it is a business, and we have to be able to protect ourselves on that end, because when something goes wrong, there's a lot of finger pointing, and we want to make sure that we're covering our end.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Shaan, outside of bookkeeping, you've taken your business to the next level. There's different ways that I've seen some of our students create amazing businesses with just bookkeeping, bigger businesses than I can even imagine. That I'm just like, wow, you're handling like almost four digit number of clients. That's insane. That's really cool. And all they do is bookkeeping. we have students that go the kind of the CFO route. They'll do bookkeeping, and then they decide, hey, you know what? I want to be more than just a bookkeeper for you. I want to be a fractional CFO. And then we have others that will decide, I don't want to do either of those. I want to go the tax route. And then even through the tax route, there's a bunch of branches that you can go into. You decided taxes, right? So talk to me about that.
Well, I mean, I'll ask you one question. Nothing's ever promised, but
yeah, death and taxes.
Death and taxes. So taxes will always be something that, if you really think about it, taxes is one of your lifelong expenses, if you really think about it from a life term, right? So the idea is, if we're able to look into taxes, now we're able to start identifying what are some tax saving strategies through bookkeeping. We're able to identify what are some ways we can start saving money, and then creating those tax saving strategies are able to make sure we're lowering your tax liability. The amount of people that we're able to help out just by bookkeeping alone, and then saying, hey, look at these transactions that we're able to write off legally and ethically because they're ordinary and necessary for the business, this becomes a big impact on all of our clients. So that's one way of how taxes make a big impact.
So you're still offering bookkeeping services. You actually do the tax prep as well. Mm-hmm. And then there's another aspect that I think normally a lot of clients think it's the same thing, tax prep and tax planning. It's not.
It's not.
You do both.
Yes, sir.
The prep and the planning. Well, that's awesome. You also recently created a course as well. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So one of our big missions here at RizBiz Services is we want to be able to educate financial literacy. Unfortunately, if I reach my hands out, I can only reach as much clients. So we decided, hey, let's try to see if we can start developing tax preparers to be aligned with our mission. And what ended up happening was we had so many people that were interested in joining the cause. And all of a sudden, now we have an academy with 13 plus students. We're talking about EROs, their own tax professionals that are doing their own businesses, that are following with our cause of, hey, let's be able to impact more and more clients by educating financial literacy, teaching them the right way of how to save money on taxes and be able to make that impact in that cause.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So now you have a team of people that are reaching more businesses because of it.
Yes, sir.
And it's a noble cause as well, because the goal is to ethically lower that tax bill as much as you can.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, I love it. So, Shaan, tell me a couple personal things that I want to ask you.
Sure.
Number one, I'll start with the good one. Tell me, what is you mentioned a really big win already, the debt, getting out of debt.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that, what is one of the biggest wins that you've had for your business? And that can be, I'll give you a couple of examples, because I don't mean big as in like it has to be this grand thing. For you, it could be that first client, right? It could be the first client and you're like, now I feel legitimate. I feel like I have somebody paying me. I have a real business. It could be your first employee. It could be your first team member, your first contractor. What is that one moment in your business life that you consider like your biggest win?
That's a great question. I think one of the big things is going to be that first client that I actually helped out on the tax side.
Okay.
Because what ended up happening was, I'm not going to say where he went, but essentially going through the do-it-yourself way of doing taxes, if you don't understand how to do it properly, what ends up happening is he ended up owing about $700. And that's not bad. That's not bad. But we're talking about an elderly couple, right? They're over 65 and they're nervous about all these kind of things that they owe and this kind of stuff. But what was crazy about it was we were just chatting and talking life, having a cup of tea. And then he mentioned all of a sudden about his solar panels. And then I'm like, hold on a second. Let's look at his credit. What ended up happening was that whole liability went away. He got a refund of about $1,500 because we looked into it. And it was all pro bono, did it for free, no worries, because what ended up happening, Jaime, was a smile across his face about the impact that we were able to make just by talking.
Yeah.
That's when I realized, hey, this is something that I really want to be able to do to help more and more people. And it has, since then, it's grown, it's elevated. But being able to put my hand on these type of scenarios and saying, listen, you're not alone with this situation. Let's fix it and let's see what we can do. That all started just by that one client.
Hey, that's amazing.
Yes,
that's
sir.
Amazing. And I think it goes I mentioned for a lot of people, their big win is the first client because it's the first time they get money. It's the first time the business is generating money. I mean, you see people that will frame their $1 bill, right? We don't even have that anymore because everything's digital. But the fact that your big win is being able to help somebody, I think is amazing. That you were able to change somebody's life, right?
Yeah, for me, it wasn't really paper. It was more purpose.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I said, okay, this is what I think I was meant to do.
Yeah. Man, I love that. All right, let's get to the bad news, I guess. And this one, you can take some time to think about this, but tell me a time in your business life where life has gave you the short end of a straw.
Where life has given me the short end of the straw.
Yeah.
Okay. Elaborate on that for me.
So I'll give you a couple of examples that I've seen without saying any names. I've seen in our 17,000 students. I've seen people that said, hey, I bought the course. I took the plunge. I'm so excited. And then a month later, something tragic happens. And they're like, I can't do this anymore. And then they come in 2 years later and they're like, hey, I'm back. I can do this now. Something happened. And a lot of times we think of like our journey as being linear. Like we're always taking small steps, growing, right? But the reality is life doesn't work that way in any aspect. You take 1 step forward, 2 steps back,
absolutely
3 steps forward, and in business is no different.
Right.
Buying the course and starting a business is step number 1. But there may be something that happens. We're solo practitioners. Most of us are solo practitioners. What happens in your personal life affects your business so much.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you a couple kind of silly ones that I can think of on my own. There are times where some of the busiest seasons that I've had, where I had multiple cleanups in the same month, and it's like tax season where clients are just like almost begging you to take them on.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 2 dogs. I still have my 2 dogs, both of them sick, and I mean extremely sick. And I'm gonna just bear everybody, not give you all the details. But the house was a mess and it smelled horrible. And so I'm going to the vet, getting medicine, and I'm like, okay, it's fixed. We're good to go. 2 days later, it's happening again. It's all over. And my dogs sleep where I work in my office. So I'm like, dude, I can't work in here. It's so bad. It's a silly example, but it's a real example where life was having me a short straw there, where it wasn't the best case for me, and because of that, now I'm having to take some time off. I'll give you another really very serious example that happened. I want to say 2 years ago. I was just an hour away from having a coaching call with Bookkeeper launch, right? I was about to host this coaching call in 1 hour. I get a text from my mom. She says, "Can I call you?" If my mom's texting me, "Can I call you?" It's really serious. I'm like, oh shoot. I answer the phone. My mom is crying and she's like, "Your dad was in an accident." And I'm like, holy, like, I'm just like, I can't, like, immediately I was like, okay, what do I got to do? And it was awesome for me to not, I was like, if I was working where I was 9 years ago, I would have been like, I can't get out of here. I can't, like, if I leave, my work is going to pile up. But because of my job and my business, I was able to say, hey, I need somebody to cover this coaching call. There's no chance I'm going to even have the mental capacity to do this right now. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I was able to be there at the hospital with my dad. And the good thing about it, and the good and bad thing, is during COVID, only one person could be at the hospital. And thankfully, I was the one that was able to be there with my dad throughout that whole time. And it was a really hard time for me as a business owner, as a person, and it just affected me so much because the personal side just bleeds into the business.
Yeah, I think you're right with that, because it really does attach your business and your personal life do get attached at that point.
Yeah,
and it's not only just on a physical level, but also a mental level and emotional level as well. Guys, entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. You're gonna have those ups and downs. And even when you think that you're at your highest highs, you're going to run into the lowest lows. It's being prepared for that for sure. And for me, one of those moments actually happened this past tax season. It's always that April 15th deadline where everybody wants to, hey, here's my tax return. Can you do it? Can you do it? Can you do it? 1 hour before midnight, April 15th, my computer just shut. And then I said, oh no, I have about 3 more extensions I need to file. So I legit was on my phone and on my iPad working on to make sure we reached the deadline by 12. And we got it. We got it.
You made it work.
We got it on time. But the thing is, that amount of stress. And then at that point, I realized my computer was gone. Okay, whatever. We're going to keep moving forward. I didn't even want to stress about the fact that I had no more computer until we go to Best Buy the very next day. But all in all, that moment right there was like the world is burning. And it was like, how do we continue to move forward with that? On a personal note, I think it was one of the other big things that really occurred for me was, I think you're right with the fact that, when you become an entrepreneur and you have that ability to take that time off, that is something that's truly beneficial, because being able to have your own business, I just bought a house and I wouldn't have been able to do that without a business. You know what I mean?
Man, that's amazing. That is truly amazing. Shaan, we're going to wrap up here, but I'm going to ask you I'm going to let you ask a couple of questions. Number one, do you have any questions for me at all? And number two, this one's probably a little easier, I think, that you can think of is, what is something, I have a question for you. What is something that you wish Bookkeeper Launch students would ask more often?
I think this is more of a two-parter, but the first part is, because they do ask for help, but it's more so, who can help? The one thing I tell my community that I talk to in the tax game is that the lone wolf dies, but the wolf pack survives. So if you're able to find your accountability partners inside of the group, that's going to help you grow as much as you, definitely much, much, much more than you would do it on your own, right? And if you don't mind, I kind of want to give a message out to the family of the Bookkeeper Launch family. One quote that sticks to my head always and always, and this quote is actually in my vision board, and it's helped me grow my business. But family, people overestimate what they can do in a year, but people also underestimate what they can do in a decade. So just understand that piece by piece, milestone by milestone, you guys will grow. You know what I mean? This is not about you falling in love with the outcome, but the process.
Yeah, man, I love it. Shaan, do you have any questions for me?
I actually do.
All right.
So you're still a Dallas Mavericks fan?
Absolutely. Die hard Dallas Mavericks fan. That's right. I'm in Houston. That's right, y'all.
And how is it? We're not with the NBA, but how are you feeling as owning this business now and running this thing? Because I'm so proud of you and I'm happy for you.
Oh man, thank you. It's awesome. It's the most rewarding thing I've done. Shaan, a few years back, I used to be a high school soccer coach. I was getting paid just during the soccer season, which is like 3 months. I was getting paid $500 a month. If I did the math, I was getting paid like less than $10 an hour for it. And at that time, I was like, this is the most rewarding thing. I don't want to stop doing this. And it was so rewarding because I got to teach a bunch of young men and young women how to be more than just, there's the game, but there's more to the game, right? Like seeing the kids cry and face losses, face wins, and face challenges. It's the most rewarding thing. I had to stop doing that because my business got so busy, and I moved away from where the high school was, and this has been just as rewarding, if not more rewarding, because I can do it at a much larger scale, because I'm not tied down to a high school. You know what I mean? So it's been the most rewarding thing I've ever done. It's amazing.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Shaan, 2 more questions for you. We'll wrap up. I know I said that already, but where do you think the tax industry will be in 5 years, 2030?
That's a great question.
There's AI. There's businesses like you, what you're offering, like your community. What's it going to look like in 5 years?
I think AI is definitely a great tool that is going to make things a lot more efficient. what I believe in the next 5 years is AI is going to get better on the data entry side. But everyone's like, hey, is that going to replace a tax preparer? Is that going to replace a bookkeeper? No. These things continue to make us much more efficient, so that way we could take more time to analyze. So if it takes me an hour to do a return, 5 minutes of that's for data entry, but the other 55 minutes is more about, hey, what can I do to help you save more and more money? What are some strategies I can create with your tax scenario? Because your scenario versus another person's scenario, even if you guys make the same amount, can be completely different. So being able to experiment that's where I think tax industry is going. I don't think AI is going to replace everybody like robots, no, but I think it's going to be a great tool that can be used responsibly.
Yeah. So do you think in 5 years it will be used more so than it is today?
Most definitely.
Awesome. All right. Anything else that you want to, any message or anything else that I missed?
No, sir. Thank you for having me again. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I was excited to have you on. I know that this is something I've been trying to get you on for a while, and you were like, "Hey, I'm studying for my CPA, and you have your businesses, man." And I really, so I appreciate that we finally got some time where we could both connect. Shaan, if it's okay, I'm going to put in the description below this video a link to your community to join your courses as well, right? Okay. And if there's anything else that you'd like for us to shout out, it will put that in the description. But to everyone out there, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and click those links below in the description.
All right. Thank you, guys.